and welcome to 3Q, where I interview industry professionals for just 15 minutes by asking three powerful questions. I'm your host, Rachel Vogel, and joining us tonight is Chris Moradi, Head of Marketing and Promotion at Hallowood Media. With over 23 years of experience, Chris began his career as an assistant at Interscope Geffen A&M Records, where he later rose to vice president. During his tenure, he's worked with numerous A-list artists, proving himself to be pivotal in their careers by helping them break into the mainstream. Most recently, he's worked with an incredible roster filled with many of the world's biggest producers, including Murda Beatz, Sounwave, David Steward, Young Deeza, and Brenden O'Brien. These producers have helped create music for artists like Dua Lipa, Cardi B, Ariana Grande, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and many others. At the latest Grammy Awards, the company's producers were nominated for a total of 22 awards, more than any single major record label. So, with all of that said, Chris, it's so exciting to have you join us. How's it going?
Good. Thank you, Rachel. Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Are you ready for the first question?
Hit me.
Imagine for a second you're sitting down with your 25-year-old self. What one piece of advice would you give him on a personal note? And what one piece of advice would you give him from a business perspective?
From a business perspective, it would be shut up and listen. From a personal perspective, is work hard every day and do what is right every day. You're going to get into situations where you think you might have just done the wrong thing, and the best thing you can always do is to ask for forgiveness and learn from that experience, and don't let that knock you down, because that will get you to the next thing.
Mm-hmm. So you say shut up and listen. So I'm curious, when you say that, does a specific instance from when you were starting out come to mind?
I think when I was younger, I was probably eager to give my thoughts in sometimes realms that I really didn't understand back then. And
Mm-hmm.
I see it happen today now. Now I'm mentoring the next generations of managers or record executives. And I see that, and I see that tenacity that some of them have. And I would much rather have somebody with that kind of tenacity and then have to, pull back the reins a little bit to sort of train them to where to go, versus having to motivate somebody who doesn't have that sort of motivation. But in those situations, the best thing you can do is to just shut up and listen and get as much information as you can from whoever is in the room. A great story about that in a situation where I took my own advice was one time when I was at Interscope. It was just when the iHeart Media Festival was announced. It was the first one that they ever had. We had a bunch of artists on it, including the Black Eyed Peas at the time. And I am going to the airport to fly to, because at the time I was the radio promo guy. So all the bands I was going to escort to do the interviews and all that stuff. My boss calls me. She's like, "Hey, turn around. Don't go to LAX. I need you to meet me at the Van Nuys Executive Airport. You're going to fly on the jet with Jimmy Iovine, Dr. Dre, Will.i.am, and
Oh
myself
my
to
gosh.
Vegas." And I'm like, "Oh my God, like, really? This is happening?" So, of course, like, I get on there and I'm on this flight with those guys. And I just sat there and listened to them talk. And that was one of those times where I'm just like, I had nothing to add, but I had everything to learn.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
How big ideas get formed, and you know, and how at the end of the day, even people with big ideas and successful people like Jimmy, I mean, they're regular people. You got to see them interact like regular people because they're amongst their peers, and so that sort of also allowed me to feel a little bit more comfortable around them. Because
Mm-hmm.
you look at them as icons, you look at them as your idols, and then you see them just palling around like regular people. And to see that kind of level of power, all sitting on a private jet. I mean, it was my first time ever on a private jet too. So that too was like super cool. But yeah, that was a really good experience of shut up and listen, and listen to ideas and how they ideate.
If I ever got that phone call, I would have just dropped my phone. That's so funny. All right, moving along. Question two. Every industry has its dirty little secrets, and you and I both know that it's no different in the music industry. And sometimes people think that's a bad thing, but that's not always the case. Sometimes they can be good. What's one secret you would like to share with our listeners about the industry?
Okay, payola doesn't really happen in radio promo. I mean, it did exist at one point, but I think that it got very twisted along the way. And I believe that there is a layer that prevents proper marketing to be done for artists because it may be construed as payola. Look, putting something or a dollar in a program director or gatekeeper's pocket, that would be directly, I think, payola. But marketing an artist because you were smart enough to sign another artist who got really big, and using that marketing to help the label itself can sometimes be construed as payola. I know that's a complicated answer. You'd have to understand how radio promotion works, but it's like you can't give an Eminem flyaway to play my new artist, Olivia Rodrigo, even if it's going to a winner, even if that winner also enjoys Olivia Rodrigo. And that's technically illegal. That is illegal. So I think that payola doesn't happen like people think it does. Mm-hmm. In fact, I think they've actually gone a little too far, because look, if I was Microsoft and I was smart enough to invent Explorer, why can't I make all the money in the world and then promote my next product, Outlook? It happens in every other industry.
Right.
So that's something that I thought was kind of a weird, like complicated, dirty little secret of that. Gosh, what other dirty secrets? I don't think it's a dirty little secret. I think, I really think that, artists have to do work. You'd be surprised how many artists say they want to be an artist, and then when it comes time for them to actually do the work, and they have such a finite amount of time to do it. It's like you have this window of opportunity, and you do have to give it your all. And I've seen a lot of artists just not want to do the work over time, and I think that they have to do that. And I don't think that's a dirty little secret. I just think that that's any artist who wants to get in this game, just know that you have to live and breathe it, for this period of your life, to truly, truly succeed,
That can probably also be said for just young people getting into the business, and from a work standpoint, working on the business side, you gotta have the hustle.
You do have to have the hustle. One piece of advice, or one difference, I think, about the music industry as opposed to any other industry that exists is a lot of kids say, oh, I want to be in the music industry, but then they have no idea what they want to do within it. They've never read the Donald Passman book, Everything I Need to Know About the Music Industry.
Oh, yeah, it's sitting on my shelf.
And as it should, as everybody who wants to be an executive, should read that book. But look, any other industry, it's like you want to be in professional sports. Let's say you want to be in the NFL. If you want to be the coach, a wide receiver, the quarterback, in film, if you want to be the director or the actor or the writer, what you want to do. Somehow, when it comes to music, it's like this black hole where people don't know what they want to do. They just want to work in music. And I think that there needs to be an understanding of how the business of music works so people can identify what they want to do. I'm not saying that you can't get involved in it and then maybe move around because you have a different desire. I was very fortunate to get into radio promotion because my passion was radio. And I started as an assistant in radio promotion, and it went all the way up to VP. And it was an awesome experience, but that's also because that was my passion, but I will be honest, after 22 years, just singularly working in the vertical of radio did not interest me anymore, especially with the demise of radio. I mean, radio is still important. I think an artist can go from 0 to 60 by themselves, streaming or whatnot, but to be a household name, you still need radio. To get from 60 to 100, you still need radio. But I think that increasingly has declined over the years. And that is one of the reasons I decided to go to Hallowood Media, because I could do so much and I could learn about every other aspect of the business. I wasn't tied to a particular vertical, which, in working in a major label system, which is an incredible system to work in, especially Interscope Geffen A&M. But once you're in promotion, you're in promotion. When you're in marketing, you're in marketing. I always akin it to, a label like Interscope is like a Ferrari. It's amazing, but the tires are the tires. The water pump is the water pump. The exhaust is the exhaust. And for a startup company like Hallowood Media, where we're still trying to find our way, it's interesting to be able to jump across the different verticals and apply that to a producer and apply that to trying to do all the things that we do for artists. Because some of these producers are forward facing artists, or they're tied to an artist project, something that they believe in, that they want to develop and hopefully get signed to a label. So then you really have to pull upon all those experiences that you would do at a label, and provide that for the producer of the project.
Amazing. All right. Well, with all that said, we're at the last question. So here we go. Throughout your career, I can only imagine you've been asked plenty of questions, whether for industry conferences, the media, or even a promotion. But throughout all of those interviews and all of those questions, I'll bet there was one that you've never been asked but would have liked to. So, what is that question and what would be your answer?
A question I've never been asked but wish I was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. That's a tough question.
It is. Yeah, it's a tough question in itself.
That's a stumbler. Please tell me I'm not the only guest that stumbles on that.
Nope, you're not.
I guess it's sort of did I ever expect to be where I'm at in the music industry? Because I don't think I ever dreamed. I mean, I was just going through the motions and going through the steps and grabbing every opportunity I could. I'd always hoped, I guess, but I now have a family and I have a full-time career in the music business and I have a balanced life within it. And I'm really grateful for that. And I don't think I would have ever seen that. Everyone always asks like, oh, what's your favorite artist, or like the sexy questions or something like that. But did I ever think I would be successful making a full-time career of music? I didn't know. I just followed my heart. And I guess for that's what helped make it.
So going off of that, I know that, we touched on your time at Interscope. So was it a scary decision to leave that and go to Hollywood?
Terrifying. Terrifying. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love that company and I love everyone I work with. I mean, their family. But to jump after 22 years at the same company, doing one thing, and move to a new company and having to put on so many hats in many areas I wasn't experienced in, but I had the hustle. And Neil Jacobson, our CEO, knew that and recognized that and gave me that opportunity. And now I don't feel like a caged lion. I feel like I am able to learn about every facet of the business that I just didn't have the opportunity to engage in, like I do now, and a lot of those opportunities at Hallowood are manifesting any opportunity for our producers. That's what the head of marketing and promotion does. I still get to wear the radio promo hat because, for example, like, if an artist if a producer of ours has a big percentage of a song that he helped write the beat or co-wrote with an artist, I'll make sure that radio plays it, because at the end of the day, that's performance rights royalties for our producers if they have points on the master and what have you, or writer share, what have you. So I still get to call on radio about that, which I currently do. I'm across a couple of projects, but not nearly as intensely as I did at Interscope. It could be branding deals, like maybe getting new headphones or a new board for a studio. I just did a campaign for Sounwave for Producer of the Year for the Grammys, and got to get Native Instruments involved in the campaign, and that was super awesome. Or sitting at Universal Studios, bringing David Steward there and playing music and trying to sell him as a producer for maybe the next Trolls, for example, or next animated film. So I'm loving all the different things that I get to do, as long as it's manifesting opportunity for the producer and our songwriter. That's what I'm going after. And that could be a myriad of things, probably even some things I haven't even thought of yet. Because we're just trying to tackle it all and learn along the way.
Well, I think I speak for everybody listening. We are excited to see what else you and the company does.
Thank you.
Well, Chris, it has been so great having you on tonight. I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. And to all of my listeners, I know you enjoyed hearing from Chris just as much as I enjoyed speaking with him. So stay tuned for next week's episode of 3Q, where I interview industry professionals for just 15 minutes by asking 3 powerful questions. See you next time.